Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another diagnostic video here. This is a 2014 Kia Santa Fe. Customer complaint it has the airbag light on. So I want to show you. I already got everything taken apart, so it's not going to be a super fast or sorry, super slow video. It's actually going to be really quick. Whenever you're working on an airbag system, first before you unplug the airbag, which in this case is the driver's side airbag, disconnect the battery, let it sit for at least 10 minutes. Then you can remove the airbag, which uses two T30s. Let me get the steering wheel so you guys can see that. So right there in this little hole right there, let me get the light. So that's a T30. Make sure you got a good tool or bit because otherwise you can damage because somebody was working on this airbag and tried to remove it and it was a nightmare to remove. And I mean they're recessed in, so it's really a problem if you cannot get it out. So yeah, be careful with those bolts. Then to take the steering wheel, you just need a steering wheel extractor. It's a 21 millimeter socket, and then just get it out. Make sure that you mark the position of the steering wheel because it's not key, and that's very important because otherwise you end up with a crooked steering wheel and you're gonna have to remove it again in order to put it back into position, driving the car back and forth straight, which is not really that much of a hassle. If you didn't mark it, just make sure you know you can start a car, drive it back and forth with steering wheel straight, and then you can put it on. Then again, once you after you disconnect the airbag and you put it facing up on either on the passenger side floor, which is pretty normal what I did, or outside, either way you want to do it. Make sure it's always facing up because otherwise, if it deploys, it will be a rocket, right? If it deploys facing up, it's just going to deploy. That's it. It's not going. I mean, it's going to be noisy, but not dangerous. And that's the recommendation. All right. So after you got the airbag disconnected, or after I got the airbag disconnected, I went ahead and tried to um, test the system, which is, the airbag has two squibs. So you got a stage one and a stage two on the same airbag. That's why we got a connector is a green one and the black one. The stage one is the black connector, and the stage two, obviously, the other connector. So let me take you over to the code. This is what we got now, but let me take you over to the history because obviously I was already playing with that. Hopefully, we don't have that. Well, right now it's showing the second stage, which it wasn't in there. I have it open in here. What am I doing? All right, so this is the first code. When the car came, we only have one code on the airbag, and it was driver airbag resistance too high in the first stage. So the first thing that I usually do is I remove the steering wheel, or sorry, the airbag on the steering wheel, and I check for either one. So that's what I'm going to show you. Let me just put the phone on the tripod, and I'm gonna get the scanner here. Sorry for that door jam on the way. I will set you in a second. That's perfect. All right, so let me get a headlight, and obviously the scanner, because that's the easiest way to do it. I mean, you can, um, if you don't have a scanner, you can just switch the key back and forth. But then if you have a problem like in here that is the clock screen, you will not be certain that is the issue. I think I kicked the. Yeah, you guys are still in a good position. And I'm going to show you that it's actually the clock spring. So I'm going to go backwards as I did before. I'm going to connect the clock spring connector. I was going first here, then down, then if this would have still showed the problem, I would have to go all the way down to the airbag unit, which is not the case here. All right, so we got that connected. And I'm going to put this simulator, which is just 2.6 to 3 ohm resistor. And then I use from AS Wave those terminals are fit perfect in there. They're not going to spray the female terminal on the connector, and they're going to work well. I will show you in a second what that looks inside. All right, so let me go back to the diagnosis. We're going to turn the ignition back on, and hopefully, let me get you guys a little closer in here. So the way this was, we got the second stage only because I was on the second connector. So if I read code now, most likely it's going to show up first stage. Well, let me erase the other code. Yes. Now you see that I was able to erase the second stage, and the first stage is open. Okay, well, obviously I have nothing connected to that. You're going to say, well, the other one is just disconnected. Well, I did this one first, so I show you that I was able to erase the second stage too high, and now I'm going to move the simulator, turn the ignition off, and I'm going to move it to the other connector, which is the black one for the stage one. Turn the ignition back on. We're going to first read codes. And now we should have two codes, first stage and second stage, and we're going to try to raise both. And if everything would be good, then we would have only one code, but that's not the case. We still have the first stage and the second stage. So the next process or the next step that you need to do in order to check this, I did a little bit of a zoom in here, so hopefully it's okay. So again, the next step, I turn the ignition off, and now I'm going to go over to that connector that I was, this clock spring connector. That one you need to just slide. I'm going to show you in a second. So it has this that you need to slide in order to get it off. I'll show you also in a second the wire diagram, how I know the colors in here. We have brown and a white, that's for the first stage, and then a red and a blue for the second stage. So we're going to go to the white and the brown. Looking at the connector this way will be on the left side. There are only 4 pins in here. Now I'm going to turn the ignition back on. Back into the scanner. I'm going to first erase the codes. And we only have now the second stage, which is awesome because I was not able to erase the first stage on the upper part of the clock spring, but I do on the bottom part. That means the clock spring is the issue. Then I can move, I can also, I have two simulators. And I'm going to show you this in the camera. That's all it is. So you need to have these connectors or these terminals are really, really thin. And this has 4 millimeter banana adapters in here that I can plug this on. And it has also on the tab a place for you to put different size or different type of resistor. This is again 2.6 to 3 ohms. And that's it. That's all you need. So I'm going to turn the ignition back off, and I'm not going to disconnect this one here. I'm actually going to add a second one. And that will be like a complete setup for the airbag system. Now we're going to, let's wait a little bit. Sorry for that glare. Now let's erase codes. And now it should be no codes. That's it. And that's how you guys test the system. It's pretty easy, pretty simple. Right now, with no airbag in here, it doesn't matter what you did to these two or these 4 wires. They're just main for the airbag. Be careful when you're working on a crash, sensor because that is very. I mean, it will deploy the airbag if you start messing around with that. So be very careful. Again, showing you how to test an driver's side airbag on a 2014 Kia Sorento, and that's it. Let me take the ignition off the car, turn it off, and I'm going to show you over to the wire diagram just briefly. how I find out that, that's what I need to work on. For this one, I use Identifix. So this is 3.3 liters GDI, just to show you that this is the right information. So this is a 2014 Kia Sorento LX 3.3 bean 7. It's based on the bean number. And this is the wire diagram. Then we have, you can see the entire wire diagram, my process, my thought process of testing. And this is the way I always do it. I start again on the steering wheel, checking the clock spring. And then we can see here, thanks God, Kia told us which one is driver first stage and driver second stage. Again, brown and white and red and blue, as we saw on that connector. I'm going to get you a close look at that connector for your information as well. So we can see brown, white, red, blue, and that's how I have that connected. Up top in the connectors, it does change the colors, so we cannot really follow that. You can change from continuity, at least one of them is working, but then you will be not sure of the other side. But you can also do that. It's just, with a multimeter, check for continuity. We know that we have one working, so you can decipher at least which one of the two connectors is the one working, and then the other one will be open. And that is also a valid test. All right, guys, hopefully this can help somebody trying to do a test. One of my tech friends around the world in the United States. I will see you next time. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.